This happened to a bartender at a restaurant I used to serve at. Bartender, walks over to table, hey, how are? Guests, sweet tea and water. Bartender, okay, I'm going to walk away and when I come back we're going to do this again. They just stare at him, shocked and mouths dropped, as he walks away. Seconds later he comes back and the guests are a lot nicer this time. It was hilarious. One of my coworkers told a drunk customer who dropped a F-bomb asking where her drink was, only the kitchen can use that kind of language here, pretty high-end establishment. She apologized so much. Sometimes it just comes out and it's perfect. A long time ago, my stepfather owned a catfish restaurant he'd inherited from his father. For a while there were 3 main servers, Carol, Brenda, and Helen. This was in the late 70s and in Nate, Texas, so, as women, they had to put up with a lot of BS, no matter what my mother and stepfather did to run interference for them. They each had their own way of dealing with this particular kind of BS. Carol, she would stare down the ringleader and not say anything. She'd just stand there. She might run her hand over her chin. Sounds like not much, but it was scary. She had bad teeth and didn't like to smile. I'm not sure she ever did smile. Anyway, it didn't take long before everyone at the table would start behaving. You didn't want to cross Carol. Ever. Brenda, she would smile and laugh and then say, well, bless your heart. That was all it took. Everyone sat up straighter and got to business. Helen, the amount of F's she had to give had long been depleted. She drove 100 miles round trip for the job. The tips were very, very good. She would give a tight smile, say, I'll come back when you're ready to give me your drink orders, and then walk off. When she came back, you better bet they were ready. The OP's story reminded me of her. Had a coworker once do similar. She had an attitude that from a coworker's view was, fun? She would be all, after our shift, we are sharing an order of blank, right? That was her tell you what was going to happen. Lol. Anyway, she had a guest put his hand up high, and snap his fingers at her. She snapped her head his way, walked over, bent down a little and said, my dog responds to that and I'll assume you are not calling me a dog, and she walked off not even allowing him to say a thing. She stood in the side station a solid 2 minutes ranting to us, and then walked out to see him holding up one finger about chin level. Like nothing ever happened. Oh, do you need something, sir? I had a couple come to my bar and one of them was polite. I greeted them and he greeted me. The other one was typing on her phone, looked up for a second to ask me a question, and as I began to answer her question she looked back at her phone and this bee literally said to me, yeah, 1 sec. I took a step back, muttered, okay, and walked the fuck away. I heard her say, no wait, but I helped every other customer at the bar before returning to them. Years ago, I had this business guy coming in, always on his phone. He would storm in, not saying a thing, head to his favorite table and sit down, without even acknowledging my whole existence. When I would come to his table, he would completely ignore me. The first time this happened, I remember being totally baffled, not quite sure what to do. Now the second time, he actually waved at me to get the F away and that's where I got super mad. You come to me, in my restaurant and then you have the nerve to tell me to go the F away? So, I completely ignored him. For a pretty long time. Until he yelled, hey, do I not get served here, through the whole restaurant. So, I yelled back, oh, are you ready now? That's awesome, and proceeded to serve my other tables. From which I got a nice chuckle, cause that asshole didn't exactly talk quietly on the phone, so everyone saw the situation as it happened. He was extremely embarrassed, but acted pretty polite afterwards. I work at a Tex-Mex restaurant, and guests like to cut off my greet, asking what drinks they want to start off with, we want cheese dip queso. I've finally just started replying with to drink. Really? Followed by an entirely believable, albeit fake, laugh. This seems to get them back on track, with the added benefit of relieving some of the irritation of the interruption.